What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Today, old names are the new thing as Juventus looks back at potentially bringing in some players that they were looking at in the 2021 mercato to come into Juventus, as well as another option in the Italian front, as well as potentially having one of the big role players for Juventus coming back from an injury. Who are we talking about? Stick with us, we'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today it's Sunday, March 27th, 2022, and of course I have your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news that you care about each and every day, coming in quickly and fast, I guess. I guess quickly and fast is the same thing, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. Getting them to you in and out of here and about your day. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. And if you feel so inclined, go on Twitter and follow me at Justin Sofro as well. Let's just dive into it. Here we go with the very first news story of the day. Is talking about potentially one of those old players that Juve were rumored to be linked with, and that, of course, is Gabriel Jesus. And then Gazzetta dello Sport is saying that Jesus is a player the club is looking at again. The club is waiting on Man City to make a move for their attack. Juventus could offer close to 30 million euros with his contract running until 2023 with City. So we talked about him a lot. We thought that would be a solid option when Juventus were looking at different ways that they could bolster their attack in the summer last year, especially when they weren't going to be able to get the likes of Vlahovic at that time, and you had Ronaldo and you had what was going on there. Now it looks like maybe Gabriel Jesus will be the guy that they're looking at to really bring some staying power, a strong attack, a guy who's experienced, really to come in there. Now that Dybala will be heading out for Juventus, this could be another guy that they're interested in. We talked about Raspadori, and now we're talking about him as well. That's what we see. That's the first mention of it so far, so we'll leave it at that. But as it stands right now, could be another option for Juventus to go after, given Man City's movement on him. All right, let's talk about another guy that Juventus are going to potentially, looks like they're going to lock and load and go straight after, and that is going to be, we talked about him yesterday, it was Frattesi. And it looks like Tutto Sports reporting that Allegri has given his approval for Frattesi. Juventus are pushing with Sassuolo, trying to overtake Inter, who were the first to start talks. So, as it stands right now, one of the good things of the situation is it appears that Juventus have a phenomenal relationship with Sassuolo, especially given the Locatelli deal, given the things that they've done in the past. It really has worked out fortuitously for Juventus. And right now, with the way that I was actually kind of surprised, right? After the Locatelli deal, it seemed like it worked out too well for Juventus, but Carnevale seems to have some kind of good relationship with Arriva Mene, with Cherubini there. And then also, there were the rumors that maybe Carnevale is trying to make a move to come to Juventus. So maybe that's why there's such a good relationship right now with the two clubs, because of that. If it is, use it to your advantage, my guy. I like Frattesi, and maybe Frattesi will end up being the guy who will be the second-ish midfielder that could come in alongside the big splash name, especially given that Gravenberch is off of the table right now, looking like he's going to Bayern right now. So what do you think about him? Do you think Frattesi would be a good option for Juventus? All right, let's continue it on, though, from there and talk about the center back position, which Tutto Sport is addressing, and I'm just saying a lot of uhs right now. But anyway, the number one target is Rudiger. But while waiting for his decision, the club is looking at Akanji, who is liked from a technical point of view and could also be a good deal from the economic point of view as well, as he becomes a free agent in 2023. We talked about Akanji a bit yesterday. He's an option that Juve could go for. But as it stands right now, was kind of surprised that Rudiger is, I know he's a top target. He's the top guy that they want to get. He'd be a really good option there to pair up alongside De Ligt. But again, just the money aspect and the issues. I wonder, maybe it's a little bit of a nonsense that was kind of floated out there, the figures. Because I don't see Arriva Bene making these decisions, making a deal to pay $30 million for a signing bonus plus $10 million per season. To me, that would seem way too much. I'd imagine those figures would come down a bit if they're able to get him. So we'll see how that moves for the center back position. Now, some good news. Some good news that Juventus fans have been kind of longing for, clamoring, if you will, given the status of The makeup of this roster, the makeup of the midfield, especially when you're looking at using Rabiot each and every game, and you know how frustrated I get seeing Rabiot out there. Well, not only is Zakaria coming back at the end, or Zakaria, I don't know why I said Zakaria. Zakaria coming back at the conclusion, or actually for the signature match coming up, but you could also get Weston McKennie to come back before the end of the season. Tuto Sports reporting that compared to the initial feeling, there's a slight optimism on McKennie's conditions, whose recovery is going well. He is aiming to be back at the end of April for the last 4 Serie A games and maybe a Copa final. So that'd be really good for Juventus, because otherwise I thought, and also for the U.S. men's national team, because right now Italy are bums, and they went out, and I'm sorry for calling them bums, but I'm frustrated and I'm angry that they didn't make the World Cup. Maybe the United States men's national team can get it done, go there, and also Weston McKennie can play in that. But also good for them, and also good for Juventus to have Weston McKennie out there, to have another attacking presence there, and to continue on and maybe wrap the season up, hopefully, on a high note of some sort. Let's continue and talk about other players and renewals. We have Nico Schiera, who's saying that a meeting in the next days between Juventus and Mattia De Sciglio, his agents, will happen. The fullback's contract extension will go until 2025 at €2 million a season and is at the final stage. Allegri considers him an effective backup as right and a left back option over there. I think overall he's played pretty well from what I expected to see Mattia De Sciglio do, given his history of what I didn't really like him coming back. I viewed him and Rugani very similarly, and of course both he and Rugani have stepped it up, while maybe definitely other players like Alexandro have definitely faltered worse and worse and worse. It's good to see at least a solid option there, especially if you can go out there and get a real left back to supplant Alexandro and get him moving out of here. You can at least have De Sciglio for a cheap option, $2 million a year. That's fine for Juventus. They're willing to pay it. I'm good with that. He's being reasonable, unlike Bernardeschi. Next up, and then we got Gazzetta dello Sport, who's talking about basically just telling you a lot of what you already know. And that is that the possibility of Morata staying at the club is realistic. Max sees him as a reliable player. The club is now trying to lower the agreed €35 million option. So just keep saying that and keep saying that. They're looking down at €20 million, maybe 15 if they can get it down a lot. That's fine. That's not really groundbreaking in that news of that story. But there is an interesting story coming up next, which I saved the best for last, right? Because you want to hear about this. We talked about it today, and I know a lot of you are probably frustrated about this, and it's Nicolo Fagioli, who is talking about basically just being kind of critical, saying that Italy are failing when it comes to utilizing youth players in their system. He says that I see that in Spain, maybe in England a little less, but also in Germany and France, young players play more than in Italy. In Italy, when a young player plays, and then maybe for the top club, he plays a bad game or two, the player is immediately criticized. It is then said that he is not ready and maybe he should leave. Also, for the coach, it is difficult to let them play with continuity. And I am fully in agreement with this now. I know a lot of you all have been on this train for a while. It took me a while. I think about it in a different way, mainly because of my circumstances of what I see sport in America. They do it differently. You have college and then you go to the pros. And in Italy, in Europe, it's very different. Also in the sport, soccer, calcio, football, whatever you want to call it, it's much different than playing against grown men in basketball or American football. The size and strength is not nearly as necessary. It's definitely helpful, but a lot of it's just pure talent, finesse, and ability. And that's where you can really shine in the beautiful game, if you will. And I think he's got a good point, and I think now maybe Juventus should really consider looking at this option and looking at maybe utilizing Fagioli, potentially guys like even Rovella, depending on where he may go. He may end up being used to be purchased for another player, but at least Fagioli for sure seems to be an option that Juve should really try to give him an opportunity. I think one thing, obviously, that's not been Juve's mantra. Juve has never been great at developing youth products, right? You have Marquisio, you have a few of them that sneak in there every once in a while, but for the most part, it's you sell them, and then you buy from other people that have already developed these talents that are starting to become, the next level kind of guys that you're going to want. But I think at this point, maybe it would be fortuitous for Juventus as well as the rest of Serie A to develop their Italian talent. And I'm saying this as a plea right now, forgiven. I can't do 4 more years. I can't be 36 and then waiting until I'm 40 to see another World Cup for Italy. And I know I did the thing on the channel where we talk about our age and our numbers, and I'm not 36 right now. I know I'm bald or whatever, but I'm not that old yet. But at the same time, I can't go 4 years and 4 years and 4 years without seeing Italy play for a World Cup. It's what drives it drove me into being a Juventus fan. That 06 team means more to me than most teams that I can think about when it comes to sport in general and influential teams. That 06 Italy team was important, and Italy need to get their bleeping in line and be able to compete with the best of the best, and they need to start utilizing some of these youth players. Otherwise, we keep seeing these old guys get old, and then we see guys like Berardi, bum. Immobile, bum. In the attack. Again, if we're going to use old guys, I think we should still consider using Balotelli. But anyway, I'm going to just leave that for another day. Anyway, the importance of the story, though, is just to say maybe it'd be a good idea for Juventus to utilize some of these young guys and give them a little bit of a longer leash than they're usually apt to do, especially when you're able to go out there and throw guys like Rabiot and Alexandro and guys like that out there because they've had more experience, but they're playing just as poorly or worse than maybe you can get from some of these young guys. So definitely something of interest there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think Fagioli, what other young players do you think should get some run for Juventus or potentially across the league that you think could be some key pieces for Italy as they develop and try to restart this whole damn thing again and try to get into the World Cup next time around? Let me know all that. Let me know what your thoughts are on the other topics we talked about today as well. Obviously, Fratesi, the idea of Rudiger, and then, of course, Gabriel Jesus being back in the news as well. Let me know that in the comment section down below. As always, I appreciate you guys for liking or hitting that like button, smash the subscribe button, and hitting the bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Make sure you follow Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter as well. I'll see you next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.